included. Have you ever asked yourself which cooling device to use in oxygen not included? The Thermo Regulator or the Thermo Aqua Tuner? Then this video is the right one for you because I'm explaining which one to use. Now first of all, as you can see, a Thermo Regulator is consuming 240 watts of power, while the Aqua Tuner is using 1200 watts. That is exactly 5 times the amount of the thermoregulator. So you could argue that 5 thermoregulators should provide the same amount of cooling as the Aqua Tuner does, but that is not the case. I'm going with the result first. You should always use the Thermo Aqua Tuner because it is exactly twice as efficient as the thermoregulator. So from the amount of power you put into the system, you will always receive twice as much of heat transfer or cooling when you use the Thermo Aqua Tuner over the Thermo Regulator. And why is that actually? That's gonna be in the explanatory part. Instead of just saying why that is the case, I'm trying to show that in this build. I've pretty much set up two different chambers. On the left side you see the Thermo Regulator, and on the right hand side you see the Thermo Aqua Tuner. Because of the amount of power that is used, I've placed 5 thermal regulators over just one Thermo Aqua Tuner, and I've created also 5 different cooling loops for those thermal regulators. We are using exactly the same cooling for both loops, which would be supercoolant. Just for the thermal regulator it has to be in its gas form, of course. And for the Aqua Tuner it has to be in a liquid form. Just checking the properties, the most important one is going to be the specific heat capacity. As you can see, it's 8.4 for supercoolant in gas form, and also 8.4 for the supercoolant in liquid form. So this should be exactly the same. There's a difference in thermal conductivity, 9.4 in the liquid and just 1.2 in the gas, but that will not matter in this build because I made up for this via just using radiant pipes for the gas. This provides enough heat exchange. Now what is actually happening in those two chambers? The heat that is in the chamber below, stored inside here, is transferred to this chamber, because actually neither the thermoregulator nor the Aqua Tuner provide cooling. They both actually provide heating, and they only transfer the heat from this room to that room, pretty much to the same room where the air cooling device is located in. So, and what we're gonna expect is that these two rooms should heat up, just because the collected heat is gonna be emitted into these rooms. And we have pretty much the same starting conditions. As you can see, the rooms have the same size. It's 25 tiles and 4 in height, and the same goes for the Aqua Tuner room. 24 times 25 times 4, that's the same size of the room. And also we have 0 degrees in this room, in the other room as well. And in both rooms we have hydrogen at 100 kilograms per tile. So there's the same amount of thermal mass in both rooms actually. So when I'm just gonna start both cooling loops at the same time, the game is paused now, I'm just gonna start it. Oh, just a microsecond too late. Then we see that both cooling loops start, and of course the rooms are heating up. 0.3, 0.4, and already 1 degree, 1.9, 2 degrees at the Aqua Tuner room. You can see that obviously the Aqua Tuner room is heating up much faster than the thermoregulator room, 0.3 over 2.7. So you can already see the heating is twice as fast in the Aqua Tuner room. And just to make sure we don't have any errors in here, we have completely separated rooms. There's no heat transfer going on. I'm using insulation, which is a perfect insulator. It has zero conductivity, and the same goes also for the liquid pipes, and this is insulation as well, and also for the gas pipes. As you can see, we use insulation here as well. And the rooms in between is even in a vacuum. We wouldn't need that in that case, but still we have it. So you believe me, there's no heat transfer between the rooms. The only heat transfer that is actually going on is through those cooling loops. And you can see, and what you can see, the aquatuner room is already at 8, 9 degrees something, and the thermoregulator room is still around half of that temperature. And this is pretty much stable all the time. You will always have twice the temperature difference in the aquatuner room. And why actually is that? It took me quite some time to figure that out, even though it's a pretty easy mechanic. The reason for that is that the thermoregulator has an input of liquid, and it cools down any liquid by 14 degrees. And because a liquid pipe can carry, so to say, 10 kilograms of any coolant, so those minus 14 degrees are applied to 10 kilograms of your coolant. And for the thermoregulator, that's completely different, because the insulated gas pipe or any gas pipe can just contain 1 kilogram of any coolant. So you have 10 times the amount of mass transfer, so to say, in your cooling loop. And if you multiply that with 5, because we have 5 thermoregulators, it will be at 5 kilograms per second. While the aquatuner cools down 14 degrees of 10 kilograms, so we have twice the mass here. That's pretty much the very easy reason why the aquatuner should always be used in your base, and you should actually never use the thermoregulator, only maybe if you don't have the technology of the aquatuner. So I think most of the topics are covered in this video. If you have any further questions, please let me know in the comments. If you like the content, please consider subscribing as well. See you next explanatory video.